You want to take this one?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, get it.
All right. Oh, we're gone. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Suited Kings podcast. Max, how many episodes are we at now? What is this?
I believe we are on a quarter of a century.
We are. Episode number 25.
Does that make sense? Can we say a quarter of a century, or does that just equate to years only?
I liked it.
Okay,
I think we'll
cool.
go with it.
Let's move on.
Yeah, so episode number 25, and it feels like we are just getting started.
It does. I can't believe. So we're just around our 7-month mark now of the episode. We've made one episode per week, every week, except for one vacation week.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
decided
during
not to do them then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great. We've been getting more and more listeners, and I'm pretty excited about our Discord too.
Yeah, so our Discord has finally eclipsed 100 members, and actually we're already up to 130 members, which is super exciting. And we did say that when we reached 100 members, we were going to do a coaching giveaway.
That's true. And before the episode today, before we started recording, we did pick 2 winners.
By a random number generation.
Yep. And the 2 winners are going to be announced at the end of this episode, so you guys are going to have to keep waiting a little bit.
Way to tease him, Wes. I love it.
They know they could fast forward too, but
okay, don't tell them the tricks, dude. Come on.
Well,
if you fast forward, it's gonna auto delete the podcast. You need to listen all the way through, and then you'll be able to hear it
better. That's much better.
No, but for real, this week's episode, I'm super excited to get into. It's been a minute since we've done a hand breakdown episode. The Triton Super High Roller Series has been going on in Jeju, and they've been streaming all of the action on YouTube. So we've had a lot of fun studying, watching this action on there. There's been a lot of talk on our Discord as well about hand stuff being played on there. So make sure if you haven't yet, hop into our Discord. You can find the never expiring link at the top of my Twitter page at Deuce Nukem. Just go click join. It's completely free. We'll be doing more coaching giveaways, merch giveaways when that's available, all that good stuff. So go in there, discuss some hand histories with your fellow poker players, give some episode feedbacks or suggestions. There's so much stuff you can do in there in value. So make sure to check that out. But back on topic here, Jeju. Today we're going to be covering the 25K Silver Main High Roller buy-in event. I don't even know what Silver Main exactly means, but
it makes it sound less important than if it was. It feels like there's a gold one, right?
There might be, and so the series is actually still going. The 150K is actually at the final table while we talk about this. So this Silver Main is kind of in the middle of the series.
Sure.
I'm not exactly sure then. Maybe it is like a middling main event type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, the action was a lot of fun. So we figured we'd break down a few different hands from this day 2 in here. That kind of, it goes, I would say, from just outside of the money. Our hand breakdowns go from just outside of the money all the way down to the final table. We're going to get into the action. Wes, we're going to start off with one of your hands. What do you got?
Yeah, and I think actually this one, I think they're already in the money because there were a total of 35 players left.
Okay, so all 3 of the hands are in the money.
Yeah, and they paid 47, I think, 42 or 47.
47 paid.
Yep.
Yeah.
So 35 left. So this hand happened, ICM is a bit of a factor, but they already overcame the hurdle of the bubble, and they're not really close to the final table. So yeah, this one is a really interesting one. It's mainly a heads-up pot, but they do go 3 ways to a flop. So yeah, we'll get into it here. The blinds are 30, 60, and 60K. The first player, his name is Zhu Liang.
Yep.
I didn't watch this all the way through the whole 11 hours or whatever, but this guy is clearly a bit of a blaster.
Yeah, no. So I didn't watch the entirety of it. I definitely watched multiple hours of it, and I can say from other hands I've seen with him, I mean, you can expect almost anything, or you can't expect almost anything from him, or it goes both ways. Either way, he will do what you're not expecting.
Yes. Yeah. So anyways, he has ace of diamonds, king of hearts, so obviously he's gonna.
This is all pretty standard at the beginning.
This is standard stuff. Yep. So he comes in with an open, and I think he actually opens. I forgot to write down this. I think he goes a little bit more than min.
So Wes, I got the sizings here for you. It's 30, 60, 60K. So 30K small blind, 60K big blind with a 60K big blind ante. Zhu Liang opens from the cutoff to 135K.
135. Yep.
Yeah. So it's actually that's a fine opening.
Yeah, 2.25.
Yeah.
And he starts the hand with over 3 million.
Yeah.
He's pretty deep.
So is he 55 big, something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. He's got, he'll have the two other players in the hand covered. So he is in the cutoff. It folds to the small blind guy named Jean Noel Thorell.
That's as good as I could do.
Yeah.
For sure.
Luckily, he's the least involved in the hand, so we won't have to say his name too much more.
Yeah.
He has queen 10 of spades, and he has about 1.1 million.
I think his hand is definitely interesting, still worth to talk about, though. So he starts the hand with 1.1 million. It's at 60K BB.
Yeah, 19 bigs.
Queen 10 of spades to the apparent maniac's cutoff open. What are we doing with queen 10 of spades here in the small blind? I mean, is this going to be I think folding's going to be the worst.
Folding's definitely the worst. And
I think
if we are to raise, it has to be all in. Because our goal is just to get, basically realize any fold equity we have.
Yeah. Maybe get ace 10 to fold or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if ace 10, but king 10 folds.
Yeah, yeah.
I think any ace worse than ace 10 for sure folds, at least if it's offsuit.
Instinctually, I'd say I'm going to be landing more on call here than jamming.
Sure, yeah.
And try and just realize some equity / fold to C bets if I completely whiff.
Yeah. On the flip side of it, it's like this guy who opened, sure, he might be opening wider, but maybe he's not going to fold to a jam enough either. Because obviously when we're jamming, we're hoping to get folds from stuff like ace highs, a lot of ace highs and whatnot.
Okay, so Liang opens cutoff with ace king. Thorell lands on what we thought was correct, the call.
Yep.
On 18 bigs from the small blind with queen 10 of spades. And then the big blind, Mr. Benjamin Chalot, he has the 5 of clubs, 7 of spades here with 1.8 million. He had just over 2 million to start the hand. Are we defending this three ways?
Yeah, 3 ways. That's fine. One nice thing about having the 2 low cards here, not only are they, I guess, not connected, but they're one gappers. But when you have like a hand like 5-7, you're less likely to be dominated by either player.
Yeah,
sometimes in the multi-way hands, you can get in trouble. Like you don't want to defend as much with like king X offsuit,
king 8, king 7, things like that.
Yeah, hands that you would defend heads up in the big blind, but then once it's multi-way, you're just much more likely to be dominated.
Yeah, I think hands you might want to defend more in those situations are ones that are a little bit more connected, so you have the opportunity to make straights and things like that instead of just 2 pairs.
Yep.
Okay, so that makes sense. And then before we move on to the flop here, I think an important topic we could talk about is what would be the bottom of our calling range from the big blind? What kind of hands are we just going to throw into the muck here?
So, yeah, I think it's worth saying we're probably going to defend anything that's suited.
Okay, so all suited hands are just in the defend range here. So do 7 suited even?
Yeah, I mean, that might be the one that you fold.
Yeah. So that's in the air, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as offsuit, you probably want to throw away. Yeah, kind of like you said, king 8. I think king 9 off you might want to defend here.
Yeah.
That's probably
we can make a straight compared to where king 8, you can't flop a straight.
Yeah.
And exactly with like 7 deuce to 7-3. With 7 deuce suited, you can't flop a straight, but with 7-3 suited, you can flop a straight.
Yep. Yeah, so king 9 off, queen 9 or queen 8. Probably maybe queen 9 off is the cutoff point there. Like jack, I feel like you want to fold jack 7 off.
Yeah, jack 7 off I think is a good fold. Again, use their hands because if your opponent has queen jack, king jack, ace jack, jack 10 suited, any of those hands, you're just dominated. And if you're not able to make straights, you're hoping you're going to have to make 2 pairs to be able to beat your opponent or find yourself coolered against their top pairs a lot.
And then I don't know for sure, but I think it might be a good idea to mix in some sort of smallish 3-bets with your weak ace-x offsuit. Because, imagine if you have like ace-4 offsuit here, you might be dominated a lot, but if you 3-bet, you'll get
a lot of dominating hands to fold that aren't premium.
Yeah, you'll get Liang, the guy, he does have ace-king now, but he would open like a lot of other ace-x hands. And I would say a lot of them would need to fold to a 3-bet here, especially if they're offsuit.
Yeah, I think that would be opponent dependent, thinking about how sticky they are. If you're against like a more scared type of an opponent who...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think no one's going to call with ace-9 off. Like, that's just a punt, you know what I mean?
It is a punt, but people punt.
I think this type of spew...
Okay.
The type of spewer in this sort of tournament is going to fold ace-9 off.
Okay, you're probably right. You're probably right. So, and it has nothing to do with where we're going at with this hand anyway, so we'll kind of just let that one slide. But people punt. But people punt.
People do punt. But also, by the way, if he just happens to rip ace-9 off,
yeah,
cool. Like, we were dominated anyways. That's not the worst thing in the world.
Okay, I like that you're bringing that up, though, like hands you could actually 3-bet here with. I think I'm kind of a nit, so I might not find those as often. I mean, there might be spots where I find it. I would have to be really feeling it, though.
Okay. Interesting, yeah.
Not that I would never do it. I just...
I don't think you're a nit.
Well, I appreciate that. I might find... I'm just saying, I guess my point is that I would find call more often than find raise with ace-4.
That makes sense.
Even though you're going to find yourself dominated a lot.
That makes sense, yeah. I think this is the sort of spot... And I could be wrong about the specifics, but like finding those squeezes from the big blind with some sort of unintuitive hands.
I think those are important to talk about, and they're very far overlooked. A lot of people don't consider that. Myself.
Could be another episode idea.
Yeah. Well, you know what is in store here before we bring out the flop is a new study sessions on 3-betting.
Yep.
So we've done study sessions c-betting, study sessions 35 big blind play. I think we need to do a study sessions 3-betting.
Yep. And hero calling. We talked about that in the Discord too.
Okay, so let's get back on track here, Wes.
Okay.
Benjamin Chalot with the 5 of clubs, 7 of spades ends up flatting here. We have 465K in the pot, is that right?
465K in the pot. Big blind is 60K. The flop comes out 8 of clubs, 6 of clubs, 3 of hearts. So
immediately my first thought is this kind of just smashes big blind range.
It does. And yeah, like it smashes his range and kind of his hand. He has the open ender. He is the only one with a club, even though it's the 5 of clubs. So he's not fist pumping about that.
I know without video it can be hard to remember some of these things. So big blind defended the 5 of clubs, 7 of spades. Zhu Liang opened up from the cutoff with ace of diamonds, king of hearts, and then Jean-Noel Thorel completed from the small blind with queen 10 of spades. So Jean completely whiffed, so did Zhu Liang, and Benjamin has an open ender here.
Yep.
So how does the action go from here?
So right now, small blind Thorel checks. I think that is the only correct play.
100%. Are you ever leading here with the open ender against two opponents?
That's what I wanted to say. So Chalot, he does check, which I think is reasonable.
I'm going to find a check most of the time here. Almost all of the time.
I think part of the decision to check here, I think if you're going to lead, it might be better to do so with a little bit more of like a strong value hand or a bit weaker of a hand that you don't mind getting blown off. Because when he has the open ender,
you don't want to get blown off. His hand.
He would hate to get raised because Liang can have all the overpairs. Yep. He could have 2 overs in clubs. He could have stuff that can put a lot more chips in the pot right now.
Yeah.
And
knowing Liang is aggressive, I think he has. I mean, he could definitely be raising.
Yes. Yeah.
Dunks.
He will probably do that a lot. And so I think Chalot's strategy here is probably going to be a little bit more, let's try and realize my equity, and then if I get there, then we get the maximum.
I think that's where I'm going at most. Okay. So the pot is what? What is the pot? What did I say?
465.
465. So Liang has ace king off, no backdoors. I feel like I'm going to be not c-betting this flop with ace king.
Yeah, I think heads up, I would mostly check, and then 3 ways, I'm just going to pure check.
Yeah, pure check. And heads up, you might have the opportunity. Again, you're just, I agree. Multi-way makes it a lot more difficult to get opponents to fold it. So I think I'm going to land on check as well. However, Liang does not check.
Yeah, so Liang c-bets for 170K, which is a little bit over a third pot.
Yep.
I'm not a fan. I mean, we just kind of explained why, but I'm not a fan of this. It's sort of just he's putting his chips in. It turns out he's ahead, but he is so often behind, and he's not going to get folds from those hands. And this just isn't a hand that he doesn't have a club. He doesn't have a lot of good cards to continue, to pick up equity with, to continue bluffing on. And, ace king high
can sometimes be good. So
it can be good.
It
you
seems
can
like
win
a good
at
spot
showdown.
to pot control.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we land on that. Anyways, Liang bets 170K. Jean Noel Thorell.
He goes all in. Just kidding.
From left field. No, he folds the queen 10 of spades. He played the hand perfectly.
Yep.
That's that. However, now we got Shalot in the big blind with the 5-7 here. I think we've kind of discussed in the past why we would, the reasons against raising here. But do you think we are ever raising here or no?
We certainly could. I think it's similar to the leading argument on the flop, though.
Exactly what I
we
meant.
could.
Right?
Yeah, we'll run into some overpairs, some strong stuff, and we don't want to get in a spot where we need to decide whether or not we're going with this hand or getting blown off the equity.
And we're getting such a good price. Let's just try and realize equity at this point.
Yeah, I like that. We're getting almost 4-1. We have 8 out. I mean, clearly, even our pair outs are good, as it turns out. But we can think we have outs to either the nuts or nearly the nuts.
Okay. So Shalot calls.
Shalot calls. Pot is 805.
805,000. He's got 1.6 behind. Liang's got 3.1 behind.
Mm-hmm.
Bing, right?
So, yeah, the turn is the 4 diamonds. So Shalot turns the absolute nuts here with the straight.
Yeah, he turns. Yep, exactly. So he's got the nuts. So it's 4 diamonds, 3 of hearts. Excuse me, I'll go in order here, sequential order. That's the word I'm looking for. It's 8 of clubs, 6 of clubs, 3 of hearts, 4 diamonds. Shalot has the 5 of clubs, 7 of spades. He turns the straight.
Yep.
Do we ever lead here?
So I thought about that too. Or I didn't even, but now looking
Just
at
now?
this, I am thinking about it.
I mean, you kind of mentioned it earlier when we were talking about the flop where you want to lead your strong hands. I think that argument kind of fits here. Because again, if he has overpairs, now you're taking control of the action here with a nutted hand. And he's not going to fold them.
100%. And there are still tons of hands we can bluff here. Like, we could have clubs. We could have a lot of other straight draws, like
the 7-9.
5-9, 7-9, 10-7, 10-9.
Yeah.
All of these make some sense to bluff. And
just apply pressure
happen
to
to
single
have-
pair hands. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, apply pressure. I mean, we can see Liang c-bet ace king off, so maybe we can assume his betting range on the flop is a little bit wider than usual. And so it would be great to just bet small with a 10-9 or 10-7 and get a fold.
I want to say this, though. Say we were to bet small on this turn. I'm going to be blasting
The river.
with all my bluffs. I'm going to be blasting almost every river, all clubs, almost every river. I mean, pretty much every river.
I think so, too.
I can't think of a card that I wouldn't blast with if I'm bluffing in this spot. Say I have 7-9 with a club or something, or even without a club. If just say I have 7-9 off, no club. This could be a good lead spot blast river to get any sort of single pair folds. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed, yes. Or, and just club draws, too.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, I kind of like a lead. I don't think a check is too bad. He does check.
Yeah, I mean, checking is completely fine as well because here's the thing. Against an opponent that we know is super aggressive, just like Liang is, I think that we can go for the check raise to try and get maximum value. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and depending on, if he decides to bet this, if he bets big,
we can just flat. Well,
yeah,
it always sucks worrying about if he's going to check the river back and then we just lose all this value. But we also keep bluffs in at that point.
We do. Interesting discussion. Liang does check back here, though, and I think that's probably the most straightforward decision because ace king off,
Yeah.
it's a bad bluff, but it's also he still could be ahead of all those straight draws that haven't gotten there.
So this is the most standard part of the hand right now, I think, is the check on the turn from both players.
Yeah, no, I agree. The check back, you just have to. And then, even if the river comes, if you don't river an ace or a king, let's say it's just the jack of hearts or the six pairs or something, you can decide to bluff catch the river with ace king high here. Because clubs...
There's a lot of whiffs.
There are.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Shalot has the nuts, but...
Yeah.
There's a lot of
It
whiffs.
wouldn't work this time.
Yeah.
But...
Again, for all those hands that Wes fired off earlier, you know what I mean? Like the 10-7s, the 7-9s, any club draws that are, didn't pair up that are worse than ace-king. So there's a lot of hands that opponent could have here that are not made hands yet.
100%. So anyways, the river is not great for Liang. It's just the king of diamonds. So not only does he hit top pair, top kicker, it does not bring in the club draw, which means he has to feel pretty good about his hand now.
This is where the hand gets really interesting, and for multiple reasons. The first reason is because it's, as Shalot, knowing our opponent is as aggressive as he is, are we going to, now that it went check on the turn, bet the flop and hope to get called from king X's, or is the maximum play to check back or to check raise and keep his bluffs in? Like, that's the first part, and then we'll get to the second. Without spoiling, we'll get to what other interesting things happen after that.
Yeah. So the first part, I think, based on so stack sizes, there's 805 in the pot, and Shalot has 1.6.
So Shalot's got the nuts.
He has the nuts, and he has SPR of 2-1.
Yeah, so 800 in the pot, 1.6 behind.
So his goal is going to be to get a full double up here.
I want to just clarify again, and I kind of do this, through episodes. When we say different acronyms and stuff like that, SPR is going to stand for stack to pot ratio. So there's 800K in the pot. Shalot's got 1.6. That means he's got 2 times the pot, so a 2-1.
Yep. Yeah.
SPR.
Yes. Good clarification there. So the king in itself, regardless of Liang's actual hand, it's probably going to hit him a little bit more. And we know this guy, Liang, is prone to bluffing, and probably a little bit more so even than your average player. So I think the play I like the most is go for a check raise. Because so if Liang has a king, this might make you the most money. He'd probably call a bet, but maybe you can get more by check raising.
Yeah.
But more so, I like it because this way you get to capture so many bluffs. I know I've talked about this in coaching sessions, and I've talked about this, or we have on the podcast.
Definitely.
About when you, obviously a lot of times we're talking about medium strength hands and how to get value with those. But even with the nuts in this spot,
how are we going to get the most?
Yeah, so one of the ways to get value is to induce a bluff.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is and it can be tricky to do because when you induce bluffs, you also risk losing value by checking, right?
You do.
So you have to risk that to get the maximum. But finding the right spot to do that is crucial. And against opponents like Liang who are super aggressive, I think those are kind of targeting spots, are the spots where you can, make these double checks to try and induce more value out of it.
Yeah, and I think before we get into what happened, it's worth mentioning, it is possible that with a hand like this, if we were to bet, we could get called by a few hands like ace-6 suited, pocket fives, that might bluff catch us, but that are not going to check, or they're not going to bet for value themselves.
Yeah, so you might check, and he might just check back those hands, ace-6 and 5-5.
There will be a few of those, yeah. But I think I think
Liang is going to be betting those hands on this. Maybe not. He doesn't seem like the pot control type of dude, although he did check back ace-king. So,
yeah, the reason I said those is because they're kind of medium strength hands on the turn. Like a pocket nines, or if Liang had an 8, I think he would have bet those on the turn. So I don't think he's going to have a ton of those hands that we're losing value from, but I think some, or maybe,
It's a good point.
yeah, and ace 4 suited,
Yeah.
or ace 3 suited.
I think that's completely fine.
so.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was kind of just, me, tangents.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So, anyways, I love this here. So, Shalot, knowing his opponent, and he clearly has a good understanding of how to get maximum value because he checked the turn and Liang checked back, and now he's still got the nuts and he checks again. So, he's risking, as I said, he's risking getting no value to get the maximum value because he knows his opponent is capable of bluffing here. So, although Liang does end up betting here, he rivered top pair, right? So,
Yeah. So I think Liang's decision, we can talk about sizing a bit, but I think it's a mandatory value bet.
Yeah.
If you are, think of it this way, like if you're going to try and bluff this card ever, you have to be able to credibly represent something.
yeah.
And ace king is like the most obvious
Yeah.
hand to represent.
Yeah, I think, and right. So even if he didn't have ace king, I think he would still bet this because he's, now he has somewhat of a range advantage, being that the king favors him over the small blind.
Mm-hmm.
So Shalot goes with the check. I love this. What does Liang do?
So I'm going to ask you, what do you think he should bet? And it's probably going to be different than what he does bet.
Okay, so there's, how much was in the pot? There's 800 in the pot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get values from single pair hands here, obviously, like 6 7s, 8 9s, things like that. I mean, there's like a lot of single pair hands here that we could get called from as played as such, right? It almost seems like Shalot is trying to, pot control and has a single type pair of hands. So I think it's fair to assume that Liang, number one, has the best hand, so we should bet for value. I don't want to get those hands to fold, so I'm going to go sizing a little bit smaller. I would say somewhere between maybe like between 35 and 50% pot.
Interesting. Okay.
Are you going to try and actually hold on a second? Now that I think about it, I had to kind of think about this. Knowing that I'm considered, aggressive, I might want to size this up because he might be thinking that, I'm saying it's kind of a reverse psychology thing. I might actually go like 60 to 70% pot.
Yeah, I was thinking more in that, like bet
because we're still
500K.
getting called from those single pairs at that range because
You want them to feel like they're bluff catching.
Yeah.
Obviously they are bluff catching, but you want them to
yeah.
You want to credibly be able to have a bluff here.
Yeah.
Is the way to put it.
So yeah, after just a brief thought, I think sizing up here actually would be the better play.
I do like it.
What is
I
what
like
does
maybe
Liang
a
go for?
500 or 550 type thing.
So 500, 550 into 800.
2/3 ish.
Oh yeah. Okay, I like it. Yeah. It's
He
it's like a max value.
chooses 800, so he goes basically exactly pot.
That's just a bit too much, I think, personally.
Yeah, maybe it's good. I don't know.
I mean, he might get. I mean, knowing his, so maybe for an opponent of his image or with his image, he might be getting called a little bit wider because of that. So those single pair hands might be calling. So against him, like say you were a tighter player without that image, maybe 2/3 is good, but maybe with his image, sizing up on these might be a little bit better, right?
Mm-hmm. That could be true.
Because you could be getting called a little bit wider.
Yeah.
Or lighter, I should say. Okay, so he bets full pot. So now there's 1.6 million in the pot, and
there's about to be 3.2 because there's literally only one legal decision for Shalot to make because he has the nuts, so he legally has to raise,
yeah,
and
he's got 1.6 behind, and he can't make it anything less than 1.6.
Yeah. So he obviously goes all in.
Yeah,
we don't need to discuss it.
Yeah, he goes all in. Now the question is with Liang here. Are we calling with ace king? I mean, obviously now we have never
a bluff.
bluffing here though.
Right. So there's 3.2 in the pot now, and we're getting 4-1, so we have to win 20% of the time.
Yeah.
This is such a regardless of what a solver output would say, you're deep in this tournament. Who is insane enough to bluff in this spot?
Yeah.
Like who's gonna take their 6-5 or whatever one pair hand they have that they were trying to show down. Like you can hero call those hands. Obviously, if you do min rate, like ace king feels like it has to fold.
I'm waiting for the day people start exploiting these types of plays where they're
Right.
like, you know what I mean, where they actually are bluffing in these spots. Like that's so legendary because it's so suicidal.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so
I love that.
I would just say with ace king, I would pretty easily find a fold. Whether I think I'm up against a straight set or two pair, like
yeah.
I think that
You and me probably aren't going to be betting pot, so we'll get a little bit, we'll have to be right a little bit more of the time.
yeah.
So
and I think sometimes people will bluff there, but like
this spot doesn't seem like it's it. So I don't know. Anyways, Shiloh goes all in, which makes sense. Liang makes another play that I'm not a fan of. He makes the call.
yeah, he uses his full time banks. It's kind of, I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. To be fair, maybe he has found himself as this aggressive opponent. Maybe he has found himself in these spots where people play back at him more.
Yeah.
But also, if I was there with ace king, I'm like, man, do they think they're gonna get me off of a king? Or like if they have one pair, they can just bluff catch because they know I'm gonna bluff a lot.
I think this saying confused you when I had mentioned it to you earlier. Correct me if I'm wrong, but again, it's something that I learned from early in my poker career. It's bet for value, fold for equity, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm betting for value, but once he raises that, I mean, I'm polarizing my range, right? So I have, that doesn't really matter, but I'm folding at this point because I realize my equity is 0.
Yeah.
Even if I'm getting great odds.
Yeah.
Do you have an argument to that?
No, the phrasing of it, the
It
fold for
confuses you.
equity, I'm like, don't you do everything for equity in poker?
Right. It's just, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Truth. Okay. But anyways, I think it's a good way a quick, easy slogan to remind yourself on why you shouldn't make a call in a spot like this.
Yeah, I think
That's the point
It's
of
good to remember that there are hands you can value bet because you think you're going to get called by mostly hands you beat. And then if you get a new piece of information, you can change your mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think oftentimes people will, I've heard it a million times, like, oh, I put you on this hand. And it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense based on how they played pre-flop and on the flop, but like based on turn and river action, why would they ever have, so it's good to be able to, even if you have a bit of a read and you think someone has a certain range of hands or even a specific hand, if suddenly they do something later in the hand that just makes no sense, rethink it a bit.
Okay.
And know that always factor in that nobody's reads are going to be accurate all the time, no matter who you are.
For sure.
And so always just take in new information and recalibrate. So yeah,
I think that's a great place to end this hand and move on to the next. Well played, Shiloh.
Yes.
Well played, Shiloh, on that. I mean, he got the absolute maximum. Obviously, it was nice that he turned the nuts to get it, and the opponent rivered the top pair.
It does help.
I mean, things kind of got to fall your way, but there's easily many ways where that same run out could have happened, and he doesn't get the double up.
Yeah, if he bets himself on the river and it's anything but all in, he's just getting called.
Yeah. So I think that's a great spot. Anyways, let's get on to the next hand here. All right, Wes. So on to hand number 2 here. This one has got one of our favorite players, Mr. Michael Adamo.
Yeah, he's a legend. He's so fun to watch.
He's incredible because he plays so differently than everybody. You know what I mean? And you get to see these lines that work so well for him. A lot of people love him because of his play style. He actually disappeared for a while after winning a ton. I heard that he went to college, graduated, and came back now.
Really?
That is the word I heard. I don't know how true that is. But anyways, he's back in the high roller scene.
Good for him.
Yeah. He's looking more fit than before as well, by the way. Not, I'm just saying, hey, anyways. So this hand is actually going to be a little bit deeper. We're well into the money. Again, there's 298 entries into this 25K. There's well over $1 million up top. Michael Adamo ends up opening Queen 8 of diamonds on the button with 3.8 million at 200 BB. So
19 bigs. And I don't know if you mentioned, there are 10 left right now.
So he actually has 20 and a half bigs. Because he has 3.8 after opening to 400.
After opening. Okay.
Yeah. So he has just over 20 bigs. There's only 10 people left in this tournament. So this is kind of like ICM implication is a little bit more real here.
Definitely.
Playing for millions up top. There's 10 left. Michael Adamo, Queen 8 of diamonds on the button. 100% open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 20 bigs, queen eight of diamonds. I mean, you can. I feel like it would make an easy fold to any sort of three betting, from the blinds.
Yes.
But anyways, easy open on the button here. He makes it 400 at 200K BB. So it's 100K small blind, 200K big blind, 200K ante. He makes it 400K. It ends up folding to the big blind. Mr. Paulius Viatakunis, he actually is the one who ended up winning this tournament. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
He will also be in our next hand that we talk about. I like this player a lot, Paulius. He seems like to be a super solid player. Watching this stream is kind of fun. He's got a fuzzy bucket hat on with a big old beard and sunglasses. What's his name? Jaffe, Will Jaffe. And I think it's Schulman are announcing here, and they're just calling him Swag Lord.
Yeah.
But Wes,
I said that. He looks like the kind of guy who would call himself Swag Lord.
I mean, he kind of does. The fuzzy bucket cap, though.
But after he wins this tournament,
he kind of is the Swag Lord.
The one thing I don't like about him, his name is really tough to say.
Yeah, Paulius Viatakunis.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's pronounced right because I have no idea. Anyways, he, I think, currently is the chip leader of the tournament with 11.8 million. So he's got,
just under 60
big
bigs,
blinds?
yeah.
Yeah. So Adamo's at 20. He's at 60. Adamo opens queen eight of diamonds on the button. Paulius is in the big blind with queen seven of hearts. I feel like there's only one answer to this question.
We could talk about three betting, especially because he's the big stack, but
actually, you're right. Maybe that makes more sense, especially with the queen seven, because again, we're going to get a lot of hands that
like the queen 10 off,
the queen eight of diamonds.
Yeah.
So maybe there is a reason here to three bet, especially with stat consideration and ICM consideration. Hindsight, it's easier to look at this now and be like, maybe this could be a good three bet spot.
Yeah. The one thing I will say is
maybe if it was offsuit.
Yeah. I know. I was thinking back to the Fall Poker Classic main. We were at 2 tables left, and I had this guy covered, and he opened the button, and I 3-bet queen deuce off to like 2.7x and just got it through. And
did you windmill that one?
Yeah.
Face.
I remember I actually, because a lot of you guys will know Kit Kat.
Yeah.
From the Minnesota scene. She jokes about how I'm this GTO player, and I say, no, I only play GTO pre-flop. And so she was at the table, and I just kind of flashed it to her, and I'm like, is that GTO? But and it's probably, I don't think that was, but I think it's closer than you would think in the sense that sometimes at this stack depth in these ICM spots, you want to take a hand from the big blind that just has, it's almost too weak to call, but maybe has a blocker, like a high card or something. Just 3-bet, something that you won't regret not being able to see a flop with.
Yeah, yes.
I think the queen seven of hearts here, like, you could jam some stuff. I would hate to 3-bet small and have to fold this because it is not a strong hand, but
I think queen seven
decently.
Can flop pretty good against button opens, especially when it's Michael Adamo being suited. I would like to see maybe some pressure applied with the offsuit variety.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe Paulius ends up going on the call here, or
yes.
going on the completer. So he ends up completing. We got 1.1 million in the pot. So it's 10.5 bigs in the pot.
Mm-hmm.
Adamo.
Sorry, not 10.5, 5.5.
Or 5.5 bigs. Yeah, thank you, math again. Adamo now has just under 20 bigs. Paulius just under 60 bigs still.
Mm-hmm.
What do we got?
Flop comes queen jack 9, spade diamond club. So Adamo he's the one with the backdoor flush draw. He has the slightly better kicker here.
Adamo has the queen 8 of diamonds. Paulius has the queen 7 of hearts.
Yep.
I think as Paulius, we have a pretty clear check here.
Yeah, not the board you want to lead.
Okay. So, yeah, we go with the check. And as Adamo, I think we're going to always be c-betting here. This is interesting. So, this board is very connected, clearly. Obviously, it's a rainbow, so that makes it a little better for having, queen 8 of diamonds here. Are we going to be ever sizing up here? Are we going small? I feel like small is probably the play just because our opponent can have a lot of hands that do beat us. But also we want to get value at the same time.
Yeah, I just think small in the sense that the stack depth is pretty small. So if we were to want to get it all in by the river, that's going to be possible. We can size accordingly on the turn and river.
Okay. So our betting here is just number one to keep in control of the action, and number two to try and build the pot slowly to get that 1-1, maybe SPR by the river.
Yeah, if we want,
If our hand improves, because obviously if it comes, there's a multiple different runouts that we're not trying to get it.
We're probably not trying to get it all with this hand. But yeah, we want to get value from 9x, or maybe if he just has a king or something.
So Adamo, he's 43%, whereas Viatakunis is 8%. Adamo has the backdoor flush draw. He's got top pair, and he also has a straight draw.
Yep.
So he's got the queen eight of diamonds on 9 jack queen. Adamo lands on the absolute main click, 200K into 1.1 million.
I think it's fine. I may have gone like 250, but I think it's kind of nitpicky.
Nitpicky. Same thing. Queen 7
and
of hearts.
Also, Adamo's a much better player than me, so I'm going
Who
to
are we to nitpick?
Yeah.
Queen 7 of hearts, I think, personally, I'm going to just be pure calling here.
Yeah, especially in this sort of ICM spot. I think a raise doesn't accomplish that much. We could get called by like Jack 10, 9, 10. We could get called by King Jack, but a lot of times when Adamo continues, it's not going to be great for us.
It would be super thin.
Yeah.
And then going against an opponent such as Adamo and him having position on us, I feel like it just is kind of suicidal.
Yeah, I prefer the call. We'll be able to figure it out.
Okay.
So
this is where things get a little bit interesting again. We get the queen of clubs on the turn. So both players turn trips. Now, in terms of equities, they're actually chopping.
They're chopping, yeah. Either one could hit their 3-out boat on the river, and Adamo does still have a
straight
gut shot.
Draw. Yeah, so any 10 will give Adamo a straight, any 8 will give him a boat, and then Viatakunis is purely chopping, drawing to a 7 for a boat. With queen 7 here, again, I think we're just going to be landing on pure check.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing. It's our plan is just check call and then probably check call a lot of rivers.
Yeah, agreed. Unless we boat up or something.
Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So Adamo's decision here. I was gonna say I think purely betting makes sense. I think there's an argument to check. If your opponent has Jack X or 9X,
because it's a 2-street hand potentially.
Yeah, you could bet big on the river. And also we just have the hand locked up. Even if our opponent has 9-10 or something, an 8 would give us cooler them, and we'd
because you have the boat,
get the full double. Yeah,
that's a good point. So king. So a king is essentially the only okay, that makes sense. Paulius checks this turn. If we're Adamo, there's 1.5 million in the pot. What sizing are you liking? If you're not checking.
Yeah, so he has 3.6 back now. And there's 1.5 in the middle. So something.
I think at this point, I'm now trying to set up that 1-1 SPR that we were talking about earlier.
Maybe. My initial thought, too, is in this sort of tournament, maybe you're right. Maybe I'd go with a little over half pot, but also there's an argument for going 400 to 500K.
Okay.
If we're targeting a jack, right?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Because we don't have a kicker with our queen, so we're not coolering other queens now, right? If we were trying to get it all in with king, queen, or ace, queen, that would make sense.
The only queens we're coolering is the suited varieties of queen 7 and under.
Well, we're chopping with them anyways.
Oh yeah.
So
that's
So yeah, that's what I mean. Where I guess queen 10 we have a kicker too, but with the hand we have now, it's can we expect to get it all from a jack?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I do. That logic makes a lot of sense. So, and against jacks, we're probably, if we want to get the most against the hands with Jack X or 9X, we probably do want to go smaller and then make it most likely just a 2-street value hand, depending on rivers.
That's true. But then the way you said that made me reverse my logic, being but if it's 2 streets, maybe we can get a big street now.
Okay. I guess that makes sense too. Yeah. Okay. Because there are some. It's the queen of clubs, so now there's 2 clubs out there, and some straight draws possibilities as well.
Yeah.
Do you think Adamo has ace 10 with an ace of clubs? Is he going to be sizing that hand up?
Good question. That's a really good question. I don't know.
Yeah,
I should say, yeah. So maybe we should spoil it for the listener. He does bet 750, so he bets exactly half pot.
Exactly half pot, right?
I'm sure he would bet this way with some bluffs. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more like the 10-6 suited type stuff, or maybe he'd pot control ace 10 or something because he doesn't want to get blown off of it.
Okay. So yeah, to keep the ball rolling here, Queen 8 of diamonds, Adamo has, he bets half pot after turning trips. Now Paulius, he's chopping it with Paulius with Queen 7 of hearts. Paulius has pretty much got a pure call here as well. I mean, he doesn't want, he's not, like, I know he's turned trips here, but like,
you're not going to get
value from anything if you raise here.
I don't think you are.
You'll value own yourself pretty much.
Yeah. I think mostly you just want to call this. Like, it's Adamo. You know he's capable of bluffing.
Yeah. And I mean, Adamo can have aces or kings here, which I'm thinking, you know, many of you listeners might be wondering that, are thinking that might be what he's getting value from.
Sometimes Adamo will just go for value on the river with those two.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, who knows exactly what he would have done if he had those hands. But anyways, Paulius lands on call, which I think is going to be the best play here.
Yeah, and I think it's important, especially against a guy like Adamo. You have a hand that is not that vulnerable. You got to let a guy who is able to bluff, you got to let him, you have to give him that opportunity to bluff.
Yeah. I mean, so we've talked, I mean, we clearly saw how important that was just by the last hand we talked about with Liang and Shalot, right?
Yes.
He gave Liang some rope, even though Liang did have top pair. Even if he didn't, I think Liang would be willing to bet there, range repping.
Agreed.
So, that kind of plays here. So the river is an absolutely brutal cooler for Adamo. It's the 7 of spades.
Yeah, it's the
only
3 outer.
Yeah.
And it's not even a club that could have gotten him to slow down.
Yeah, exactly. So
kind of a 2 outer in that way.
Yeah, it's almost a 2 out because if it was a third club, that would give Adamo more reason to fold because a lot more combinations of hands are now beating him. As Pauly is here, knowing Adamo is aggressive, I think this aligns with the last hand here. We're going to play pure check and keep Adamo's bluffs in.
Yes, 100%. Keep his bluffs in. And also, like, it's not like Adamo's going to be afraid of this card. If he has a strong hand, he's going to keep betting.
Yeah, exactly. So his hands, essentially the reason why we're checking here is because Adamo's still going to bet his value hands, so we don't really got to worry about him checking back for showdown his strong hands. The only hands you might be losing value to is like ace-jack or something like that, but you might even still value bet that. I don't even know.
Agreed.
Yeah.
There are a lot more combos of, like, he could have all the straights and he could have queen 10, king, queen, ace, queen.
Yeah, exactly. So,
or pocket nines. I mean, obviously, those hands we're going to get value from no matter what we do.
This part of the hand is super interesting, and I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to say what's in my head right now. We'll get to that. Paulius checks. If we're Adamo, there's $3 million in the pot. We have $2.8 million behind. You have trip queens with an 8 kicker. And the board, just to remind everyone, it's 9, queen, jack, queen, 7. No flushes out there. How much we set up the 1-to-1 SPR at this point? I mean, a lot of times I feel like people are just going to be jamming here.
Yeah. I mean, we have to think about what we're targeting, and obviously I can see what he did, so maybe I'm a little biased by what he ends up doing.
Right.
We're in a spot where our kicker doesn't play, so when we bet, we're trying to get called by a jack.
Right.
Can we reasonably assume, and by the way, he would have jammed like ace-jack pre, so we're trying to get called by king-jack or worse here.
Right. And the reason he says our kicker doesn't play is because, like we mentioned earlier, we're chopping with every kicker under us.
Yes.
So that's not a boat.
Right, yeah. So can we expect to get called by king-jack, or by any jack, really? If we jam.
Maybe if you're Adamo.
Maybe if you're Adamo. The other thing to factor in, and I don't know if we have everyone else's stacks here, but we do have 10 left in this tournament. There is some reason to preserve the stack. And I think in general, in this sort of spot, it's best whether you're bluffing, whether you have the nuts, so not even necessarily with this specific hand, but it's good to leave yourself a little bit back. because if you're bluffing, it's always better to have a few chips left.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot more sense to leave yourself a little extra and risk losing a few blinds when you like
The
losing a
value
little
of
bit
those
value.
few blinds is worth so much money in a spot like this.
It is, yeah.
I think this is a great time to move forward in the hand and explain why Adamo's a genius, right?
Yeah.
He does not go with the all-in even though he has the 1-to-1 SPR. He bets 2 million of his 2.85 million. I like it because first off, he's targeting jacks. He's also making it look like he's leaving a little bit behind. If he's bluffing, he might save himself that many chips if his opponent calls. There's a lot of reasons why this bet is kind of cool.
Yeah, I like it a lot. And I think it's important to note, like, this is a credible bluff. Like, if he did something cute like bet 750 again,
Yeah.
that's never a bluff.
Right. So like, and this will also kind of, you're going to see why, how the difference of Adamo versus Liang is here, because it's a very similar river situation as the last hand. So Adamo bets 2 million into 3 million. The pot's 5 million. Paulius goes all in, rightfully so, with the boat.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got the boat. Queen's full of sevens. He goes all in. Adamo has $850K behind in a $7 million pot.
Yeah, closer to. Yeah, you're right. 7.
Yeah.
Or no, so it's like 7.8 because he has the extra 800 to call. Right?
Yeah.
So he's getting 9-1.
He's getting incredible odds here. However, for Paulius to jam over that 2 million and he's only got that much behind, Paulius should only have boats here pretty much. And could have straights maybe.
And we still lose to those.
And we still lose to those. Right.
Yeah.
But my point is he could have.
We have, with Adamo's hand, we have a pure bluff catcher. And again.
Don't you hate having trips and it being a bluff catcher?
Yeah, it sucks. And I think this is a spot where, yeah, if you look at a solver, maybe it calls because the solver is crazy enough to bluff once in a while.
But you had pointed out earlier that the solver doesn't realize these situations.
People just don't.
Yeah, bluff these spots like that.
Yeah, when someone finally does it, yeah, sure, whatever. But like, is he bluffing this anything close to 10% of the? Is any, like, how would I explain this? Of the times he check jams like this, are 10% of his hands bluffs or anything close to that? I don't think so. I think it's always a boat or a straight.
Yeah, 100%. And more, most likely. Straights might not even either, again, because of ICM here. He might just be calling with a straight. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
That's just a thought of mine. But
yeah,
so Paulius jams and Adamo makes a very incredible fold with trips here, saving his tournament life by not jamming, leaving 850K behind. And making a correct fold to a hand that crushed him on the river. So bet for value, fold for equity. It pisses Wes off every time I say it now.
I think both players played this hand like perfectly.
Yeah, this is both. Paulius and Adamo are so it's Paulius Viatakunas. I say Paulius because it's easier now.
Yeah,
Paulius is clearly a crusher as well. So. Well played by both opponents on this. Unfortunately, Adamo wasn't able to spin it up. However, he gave himself the opportunity. He ended up going out in 10, so he didn't make a pay jump, but he gave himself the opportunity to, whereas I think many opponents would have just gone busto there.
Yep.
So,
I've been there.
Yeah.
Definitely done
that. Nice hand by Adamo, nice hand by Paulius. Wes, we got one more hand here to talk about today. Let's go ahead and get into that.
All right. So the final hand, actually, we both got 2 hands, and our second hand was both this hand.
Without talking to each other. It was very coincidental. We both
11 and a half hour stream, and we picked the same hand, which is good because this is going long so far, and also because it means this was quite the hand.
Yeah, there's a lot that's pretty cool about this hand, and it's going to be involving 2 players, Mr. Paulius Viatakunas from our last hand, who had the Queen 7 of Hearts and almost busted Adamo, played that hand great. And then also in the big blind, the heads-up opponent in this hand is going to be Joseph Chung, who, if many of you remember, he got 3rd in the WSOP main event the year Duhamel won it.
Yep. I know he's won at least 1 bracelet since. I think just one.
Not only that, but like I've actually played with him in person before. He is a top level player. He's never from what I've seen him every year on streams. Like he hasn't died down. He's just been in the game constantly grinding. He has a lot of other wins outside of the World Series as well.
Yeah.
Just a constant crusher. Love watching Joe play. So Paulius and Joe get into a hand heads up here. Go ahead and tell us the action there.
Yeah, so blinds are 125K, 250K with 250K ante. Paulius is chip leading by a lot. He has 21 million, and the next biggest stack is just under 9 million.
And we're at the final table now, 8 left.
We are at the final table. So he is in great position, more than double the second place chips. He has the 6 of diamonds and 6 of spades under the gun, and he opens to 500K.
Min click, I think.
Totally totally fine.
I like that.
It folds to Joseph Chung in the big blind, and he has 5-3 of clubs, and he started the hand with 6.4 million.
Yeah, I think
So-
there's only one thing here.
Yeah, you just want to defend here.
Yeah,
Easy to flop some stuff. It's going to suck if you just flop a pair. You don't, Chung is kind of a middling stack. I think he's in 4th right now. You don't
ICM
want
is
to
important here.
You don't
for
want to
sure.
bust that,
Yeah,
but
so I mean, essentially, we're trying to make strong hands or be very, very cautious. If not,
yes. But we're getting a great price. Got to call with this. Pot is 1,375,000, and the flop is 3 of hearts, 7 of hearts, 4 of spades. So Chung flops bottom pair and a gutter.
not a bad big blind flop though.
Not at all. And Paulius has pair of 6s and a gutter.
So second pair. And
So
a gutter.
actually, Chung, that's like the worst type of hand for Chung to be against with his exact holding. Because
right, he blocks the straight outs.
yeah, he blocks the straight outs, and the 5 is no good. So
Yeah.
Chung is in much worse shape than he thinks. I think this is a board you could sometimes consider leading, but just with the ICM, and you don't want to build this pot
In
as Chung.
non-ICM situations, or if maybe
Chung was the bigger
if,
stack.
exactly.
yeah.
If Chung had 21 million and Paulius had the 6 million or whatever, so I think then you could maybe consider applying pressure, ICM pressure to Chung. But yeah, I think and like you said, Chung's 2 pair here is not even good because the 5 will give Viatakunis a straight.
Yeah. So he checks. I'm just going to call him Paulius.
Yeah,
Easier.
Paulius.
He, there's an argument for checking. I mean, this board isn't great for him, for his range, I should say. But it is good for his hand, kind of, and he decides to go with the 525K bet.
I think that's okay as well because again, he's got 21 million. He's just crushing all of his opponents and in stack size, and I think just applying pressure here is just a good play.
I think, yeah. I mean, Chung can have a ton of hands that are just 2 overcards, and it'd be nice to just get those all to fold now. The only way, like, a queen 10 is going to put in more chips is if it improves to beat our 6s.
I know this is completely off topic, Wes, but I just had big time deja vu. Have we done? Are we back from the future here? Why does this feel so
Probably.
weird?
I did not have deja vu, so
Okay.
it must not be.
Something with. Anyways, I hate when that happens. 'Cause
Maybe I'm the
it's
one with the
so-
time machine, and you're just.
Are you okay? Stop it.
I'm
You're
just
scaring
lying to
me,
you
bro.
now.
All right.
I also planted a chip in your
Yeah.
arm, so
Viatakunis goes with the bet. 525K into what was it? 1.2.
1.375.
1.375. That's right. So just 40%, just a little over, something like that.
Yeah, around there. A little on the big side, but I think on this sort of board, it's fine.
Yeah. Just charge hands exactly like Joe has here, like the 5-3 of clubs.
Yeah.
Hands in single pairs, any 3s, any 4s, and then any straight draws.
Yep. Yeah, so Chung decides, I think it makes sense to just call here, right?
Yeah.
We
I'm
have
out.
a hand that has showdown, and we're not looking to get it all in.
And we still have such a stack behind to where, like, on any sort of bad turn cards, we can still just check fold the bets and be completely fine. So I think that, yeah, he pretty much nailed it. So, however, the turn is the
6 of clubs.
what a gross turn. So it gives Paulius a set, and then it gives Joe the straight. So it's actually kind of crazy how bad of shape Joe was in, and now he's just kind of. I mean, it gives his opponent a set, and now he's in a commanding lead.
Yeah, this is a crazy one. So I think Paulius, he's the big stack. He'll probably be opening a lot of hands, so he could have a 5. Chung obviously can have a 5 from the big blind here.
What are we doing if we're Joe here? Are we going to be checking and then letting Pollyus bet and then check raising? Is this a good spot to lead? I know we had talked about this in an earlier hand on this episode where it's like when we make nutted hands, and actually this might be a perfect spot for that to be the situation because it's like now we're nutted and we can take control of the action, but we also can just, I don't know. It's tough because of ICM, but we could rep range, you know what I mean? Or range rep, excuse me.
Yeah, like we could turn hearts into a bluff here or something.
Queen 10 of hearts.
Yep. It's credible that we have the 5. Like we can instantly get some stuff to fold. It makes sense to lead.
That's if you're bluffing. We don't want things to fold now that we have.
Right. This would be a value bet. I think leading something on the small side makes some sense.
Okay. Interestingly enough, Joe goes with the lead here, and that's another reason why I love him is because he finds these plays that are super cool, right?
And he goes with 1.2 million, which my initial thought was to go like 800.
There's 2.425.
Yes, so he goes half pot.
Okay, yeah, so he goes half pot. Are we sizing wise? What are you thinking?
I mean, he's a very good player, so I think this is probably good. My instinct was to go a little smaller because let's say we do have hearts, right?
Yeah.
If we have 10-8 of hearts, for example, we don't need to go that big to fold out just like your random ace or king high. And if we're targeting an overpair, we can bet small on the turn, and if we get called, which we might still get a fold, but if we get called, we can bluff them off on the river.
I just love this because all ace and king highs here are just going to check back. So essentially, Joseph Chung is going to be charging all hands that have value at this point. And also, a lot of people will be like, well, of course it's okay for him to bet here. He's got the nuts. But no, it's a leveling war because these opponents are capable of turning hands like Jack 9 of hearts into bluffs, Queen 10 of hearts, any sort of heart combinations that Pollyus beats here. So it's like, even though he has the nuts here, this is a really cool play.
Yeah.
So he bets 1.2 million. I keep calling him by his last name. Pollyus has a set of 6s now. Is there any reason to raise here?
No, I mean, it is very credible that Chung has a 5.
Yeah. Because the reason we're saying that is because Chung is in the big blind. And big blind's range is all over the 3, 7, 4, 6, 2 heart board.
Yeah. So Polly, and even if he does, it's like we have 10 outs. Let's just call.
Yeah.
And hopefully either we can win at showdown or just improve and cooler him.
Okay. So Pollyus he lands on call, which I like.
Yeah, so Chung has 4.4 million back in the pot is 4.8. River 10 of clubs.
Do you think, at this point, our opponent clearly doesn't have ace or king high, being Pollyus, our opponent being Pollyus if we're Joe.
Yeah, unless it's hearts, right? But
yeah, I guess, right, unless it's he had a flush draw with it. Is there any reason to play this hand similar to the first hand we did where we now make it look like we're weak in check and then try, I guess with the 1-to-1, less than a 1-to-1 SPR, that play might not be as good. Whereas if we had say the pot was twice of our stack size, we might have more opportunity by checking here. Do you see what I'm saying?
It could, yeah. The one thing to think about too, and it's a small part of his range, but it's possible. Pollyus could have c-bet with 8-9 suited and then turn the open ender. So he could just have the nuts here. Yeah. So I almost think even if we had a lot more chips, we wouldn't be going for a check jam. We'd want to get like one big street of value.
Okay, so we should just be betting here. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. Okay. Also because like our range on the turn is kind of, we have a straight or we have a bluff. Maybe we do it with a 2-pair type of hand, but it seems a lot more likely that it's a bluff or a straight.
Well, right, and I'm curious. So, and that's another thing that I'm curious about is, can Pollyus think that he's also good here because his value? He has some hands that are beating what Joe might have for value, such as pocket 3s, pocket 4s, which are both sets, or 7-4 suited or 7-3 suited, something like that. Maybe even 6-7 suited. So Joe can, I feel like, end up here with some 2-pair hands.
He certainly
as
can.
well as some
Would he
bottom and
if he
middle
flopped
sets.
2 pair? Would he check raise?
I feel like he would check raise both sets in 2 pairs. So maybe we're removing those because of the flat here. But
Yeah.
But if he thinks his opponent, but yeah, man, there's so many different ways to look at this because of the ranges and the positions.
This is the hand of the 3 that I feel the least confident about talking about, I would say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well. There's just so many different angles to look at it from. So I think moving on into what actually happened here, I think maybe just watching what they do might be the best thing because they're both more experienced than both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. Polyus could or could not be. I'd assume playing 25Ks and 150Ks and in this series in general, he's probably pretty good. Without being too much on a tangent here, Joe goes ahead and he bets 3.5 million.
And I kind of like this in the same sense of
there was 4.8 right in it.
There's 4.8 and he had 4.4, so he's leaving himself like 3.5 bigs.
Very similar to what Adamo did previously.
Yeah, and the reason for this is if you were to bluff, leaving himself this much would be such a good thing to do.
There's so much value here to where.
And now I think we should clarify if he gets raised all in. I don't think he's I think he's
still going to go with it.
Yeah, he could be up against that 8-9 suited, but I think I don't think he'd be up against.
There's 4 combos of those.
Yeah, and I don't know if Polyus is going to open 8-5 suited under the gun, even if he is big stack. So like,
yeah,
we are. But no, I mean, we're doing this planning to call to a jam, but we are doing it because that is what
it
our
does.
bluffs
Other
would want
things
to do.
also exactly. Our bluffs look like that as well. So we're trying to make it look bluffier to get called by hands such as Polyus is either over pairs or a pocket 6 is where he turned a set. Right.
Yes,
it's most likely going to be over pairs. Right. So
it's going to be more of those.
Yeah. So Polyus is essentially
maybe 10x of hearts or something.
But Polyus is almost all the time going to be bluff catching with all of his range here.
Yeah, and so this is a pretty gross spot for him. I mean, he's got middle set.
So yeah,
he has such a strong hand.
He has such a strong hand. He has 19 million chips behind. I think what makes this play interesting is that he knows that Joe has to consider ICM. So I think that should be tightening his bluffing range here extremely. But
also his value, like you might be sort of tempted to think that we can beat some value bets with pocket 6s.
Right.
I think,
but we kind of dismiss those by not check raising the flop, right?
I would mostly say so. And also, by the way, the fact that the 6 came on the turn means it's very hard for Chung to have turned 2 pair because there's only 1 6 left in the deck for him to have.
Agreed. That makes sense. So now that we know that it's most likely that he didn't flop 2 pair,
and he probably didn't turn 2 pair.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think first off, we should just say even though Chung barely has any left, you never want to raise this all in because you're getting called by his value. Like he's basically bluffing or value betting, and almost all of his value is beating us. Maybe all of it. Maybe it's only a straight.
Yeah. And I just want to go on to say that this might be one of the reasons why Polyus won this tournament is because he makes folds as incredible as this. Not that it's easy in hindsight seeing cards, but when you turn a set and you're chip leading and you're just applying pressure, to be able to fold a set here is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, and I don't think we mentioned he does fold.
He folds. He folds into the 3.5 million, even though Joe made it look like a bluff. Like, what an incredible fold. Yeah. So I mean, are you folding here?
I don't know.
Here's
against
something to remember
an opponent who I know can bluff.
Yeah, and we don't have this time bank, right? These guys are on an actual time bank. They have time cards, so they get 30 seconds time bank. You know what I mean? So he has to either think about all the things we've been talking about in a very accelerated time. You know what I mean? So it's going to be very tough. He takes, I think, maybe like a minute. Uses a couple time banks, and then just throws it into the muck.
He probably concludes that like Chung, if he has a pair, he's probably just trying to get to showdown. So Chung's only bluffs would be hearts, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it would be obviously the 5 of hearts is a straight, a 4 or 6 or 10 of hearts has a pair now. So it's stuff like
And for
Jack
him to
eight of
commit
hearts,
to such bluffs with ICM implications as they are, I think that reduces the chances he's going to do it even more. So
I think that's fair. I think, and he can have so many fives. He can have pocket fives, 5-4 suited, 5-3 suited, 7-5 suited. You know, he can have 5x of hearts. He can have 5x of spade. Like maybe he just calls the flop with a lot of fives. And ace 5 is a double gutter.
So Paulius ends up making a very incredible fold here. They get down to three-handed. Things even up a little bit then, and Paulius, they do end up doing a three-way chop where all three opponents end up getting a little over, slightly under $1 million, just right around $1 million mark. They leave $100K behind to play for, and then Paulius ends up scooping that extra $100K by winning it all and the $25K silver main.
Good for him.
Yeah, that's
well played. I mean, we can see
two incredible
this
hands
one
by
is
him.
special. This one is insane. The Queen 7-1, I think that was
this hand displays poker, though. You know what I mean? Like real poker. I love watching hands like this because there's so much thinking to do behind it. And I mean, these opponents are, just incredible. So it's not much more I can say about it. It was really fun to watch this.
Yep. So.
All right. Well, guys, that's the three hands we wanted to discuss. I do actually want to say one more thing regarding the three. There was a relationship between the three. And if you didn't notice, it's all three of them went to the river, and all three of them dealt not with a river raise that like kind of polarized, but Paulius was able to make an incredible fold to this river bet here with a third set on the turn. Adama was able to make an incredible fold, getting almost 9-1 with trips on his river, and then we had Liang who ended up calling off with one pair incorrectly. So, I mean, it's just important to look at that and take that information into consideration for when you run into spots like this. Like you can, you know what I mean? Betting for value is important, and then fold when you know you're just behind. Just notice how I changed at that time for you.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh, man. Okay, so those are some fun hands to break down.
Yeah.
I think it's time to announce the winners of our
coaching
giveaway.
Yeah, so just to kind of clarify what the coaching means is we're going to be doing a 1 hour combined coaching session. You're going to get Wes and I both for 1 hour. It's going to be both of our winners in a Discord group, in a Discord meeting. Essentially, we'll be in our Discord channel, and we'll kind of discuss what we think would be best for you to learn from at that point in time. We'll talk with you a little bit and kind of see where you're at, and then try and tailor some coaching to what we think would be most beneficial for you. Does that sound good, Wes?
That sounds good.
Yes, sir. So what we did was we took all of our Discord members by the number they joined. We created a number random, an RNG generator on Google. So we just type, 1 through 137, and then it'll randomly choose a number. And then we associated which person joined. So like if the 36th person joined and Google chose 36, that's the person we chose. What numbers did it choose?
76 and 64.
Okay.
So number 76, drum roll please. R. Payton, 1970.
Congrats to you, R. Payton, 1970. I'm pretty sure I've seen you and Chad talking it up a few times. So we'll reach out to you via Discord. And then the second one, Wes?
Number 64 was Levine 0339.
Levine 0339. Congrats to you as well, my friend. I will reach out to both of you guys via Discord. Hopefully, we'll get a response from you. If for some reason we're not able to get a hold of one or both, we'll redraw.
Yep.
But if you guys respond to our messages, we'll get that coaching set up for you. And then also, just again, to push the Discord a little bit more, if you're hearing this, make sure to go to my Twitter at Deuce Newcomb. Sign up for a Discord. I don't see why we don't do another giveaway at 200.
We probably will.
Yeah, and then 201 and 202. No.
We're going to give away $1,000 each time.
Yeah. Join our Discord. Talk hand reviews. There's 130 people in there right now, and it's just going to continue growing. So it's a great place to learn, to talk, to meet maybe even new friends that share the same passion as you, all free of charge. So looking forward to seeing you guys in the Discord. Wes, an incredible episode. I had a lot of fun chatting with you about the Triton episodes today.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And you know what else we're going to have fun doing?
Crushing the MSPT Riverside this weekend.
That too.
I'm
glad you were on the same page.
1 and 2, baby. Let's do it. So, Guys, hopefully catch you out at Riverside, and we'll talk to you next week. Have a great day, or night, or morning, or whatever time it is.
Shut up.